Man, that back one sucked. I was able to get it off, which actually it looks better in the back than it did in the front. Now, I kind of came up with the same issues. The rings for the spark plugs are completely dry rotted and pretty much deteriorating. One actually has a piece missing. I was going to go with my mirrors and scope and stuff like that, see if I can find it. Hopefully I can. If not, I guess it would just be in the bottom of the pan. A couple little odds and ends that I would have to mention. The wiring harness is what gets in the way. Yeah. Way down there, there's a bracket that you can undo a 10mm bolt. I don't know if you can actually see it down there. It's kind of hard. But anyway, there's a bolt down there that actually will help bring this wiring harness up out of the way a little bit more. There's a couple little odds and ends right here. You can pull these off and it will give you a little extra room. And I'm going to pull that off here in a second. But getting it back in is actually going to suck. But before I do that, I need to clean this thing up. I need to get those seals out. I need to get all the mating surfaces cleaned up, and then also put the gasket in there. Now, one of the little odd thing that you need to think about is before you put this thing in, there in these little corners and crevices and stuff like that, put a little dab of RTV down in there, which will help seal the corners. That's about it. The rest of it should be able to seal with the gasket. It's actually pretty good. This one is completely and utterly flat, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to do the same thing to this one that I did in the last one and use a pair of vice grips and get this thing out. So anyway, we're going to clean this up. We're going to get it ready, and then we're going to put it back in. All right, we're back on the super sexy Honda Odyssey. It is a new day. Actually, it's the next few days, because here's my problem. Got a Velcro gasket here. Supposedly, it's for 2007 Honda Odyssey with the 3.5 liter engine. I'm going to say nay, only because the first one fit like a champ. Oh, it was beautiful. The grommets has slipped on, the gasket slipped on. But let's go to the back of the engine and tell me, how is this guy here going to fit that profile? Yeah. Either A, they gave me two lefts and didn't give me a right, or maybe I just can't figure that out, because that, my friend, is not going to work. Actually, I don't even have it all the way in because the actual tabs don't even line up. So I did go back to the place I got it from, and of course they said, well, you have to order the other kit. Now, this kit is 31 bucks. The other kit that they wanted me to get was 70 bucks, which kind of sucks, especially if I can't return the other ones. So that means I am $100 in to simple little gaskets to fix a simple little oil leak, which annoys the crap out of me. But you know what? The dilemma didn't even stop there. No, I went in there and I said, hey, I need to have it. Okay, fine, I'll get it there the next day. Fantastic, I'll be there. Boom, went up there. Half of it looked like it was put together with saran wrap, like from your kitchen saran wrap, not even the heat shrink stuff that they use here. No, it was wrapped in saran wrap. Only had one of the gaskets, had 4 out of the 6 spark plug grommets. Did have the full bag of bolt grommets, but it was not a complete kit. And they said, oh, let me order another one. Be here the next day. So now we're what, 3-4 days into it? I mean, come on, this is not rocket science. What is going on? So anyway, so now we're back. We're still going to work on the rear end of this, the rear of the engine here. I've already cleaned this one off as best I could. It's still kind of grungy on this side, but it's okay. But all of my, excuse me, little holes for the spark plugs seem to be in good shape. I'm going to go ahead and open up the new package, put those in there, and make sure that gasket does fit. Anyway, let's get it done. All right, I have the back cover on. Make sure you have all your electrical connections are connected right where you took them off. Also, don't forget to put your little dollops of RTV in those corners. And then that was actually able to go back on. Just be careful. That is a really tight spot. Make sure that once you actually get it wiggled underneath the wiring harness and actually onto the head, to make sure that run your finger all the way around to make sure that that gasket stays on there. If it gets crimped in any way, it's just going to leak, and then you're going to be right back doing the same thing again. So now we're back onto the intake. Now, a couple things that you have to look for. Now you have this crazy looking contraption gasket here. Now this is actually going to go right on top of the upper intake. You got lower intake, you got the upper intake. So this right here will be your lower intake. And you do not need to crack the case all the way around to be able to get this thing off. You only need to take this top cover off. Now, one thing I did do earlier, which I probably shouldn't have, was actually undo these three 10 mil bolts. Don't need to do that. Hopefully I did not create any leakage, but we will see. But anyway, another thing you want to do with this, just make sure this is really clean. If you flip it over, whoops, where all of the air intake goes, that thing is dirty. So I'm going to try to clean that up as best I can. Also get all the other stuff. I'm going to blow it out and try to get this as clean as possible. Now on the upper intake, where that big crazy gasket goes, this right here is a rubber piece, and actually it's not too bad. It's still a little bit pliable, but not very good either. The kit didn't come with a replacement blade strip right here, so I'm just gonna leave it like it is. It should be fine. It's not gonna, I don't think it's really gonna hurt much. But anyway, so you have these butterflies right here. I don't know if you can see that. So these butterflies mark where they're at, because when you take this motor off, in order to change that gasket that's right in there, you want to make sure that that is actually in the right orientation. And actually this one right here, I can get to that pretty easily. I do not see that it's leaking, so I'm going to leave that alone. But I'll keep the gaskets around inside the cupboard so that if it does start leaking, I have a gasket for it. So I think I'm just going to leave that one alone. The kit itself also comes with, there you go, multiple intake gaskets. So these things are all different sizes and all different shapes. So basically this is a one size fits all type of kit, and you just got to pick the one that matches your intake. Now this one looks really good. I'm going to leave that the way it is. But again, I'm going to leave these over into the cabinet along with my other O-rings and gaskets. So if it does leak, I know where to find them. But anyway, I'm going to get this all cleaned up. Make sure you use your Scotch-Brite. Clean up all the surfaces, spray it down, get it clean, and then put everything back together. Yeah! Okay, so I got everything cleaned off. I'm getting ready to drop the lower intake on it. It does come with actually some metal gaskets. It's actually pretty sweet. These are layered so that they'll be able to seal properly. And then I'm going to lay the intake right on top. All right, so I am tightening down all of these nuts and bolts. And as you can see, I'm not putting a wrench on them. I'm only using my fingers. So I'm going to pull all these down all the way. And then I'm going to start torquing them. Now, look in your book to find out what is your torque value. I'm not going to tell you because each one's different. And I don't want you torquing it down to what I tell you and then you break a bolt and then you're yelling at me because you broke a bolt. Because I said, you know, one setting. But your intake might be slightly different, because like I said before. All right, so I just torqued all those down. Like I said, go look in your book and make sure you got the right torque settings for that. Usually you start from the middle and work your way around. Didn't really look that up, but that's usually the way you do it. But this is a Honda, so it could be different. All right, so I got my gasket all the way in. Now, a little trick for this, or a little tip, push it in all the way around. Don't rub your finger across it. I mean, you can rub it slightly, but don't try to push it in and push it that way. And the reason for that is if you start on this end and you're pushing this way, by the time you get to this end, you have a bump because this part here has been stretched. So lay it down and just push your finger, and push your finger all the way around. Don't drag it. All right, just a little tip. All right, so make sure all your connections are on. There's a couple in the back that were a pain in the butt. All your electrical, that includes those. I still got to put this one on, but the intake needs to be on as first. I'm getting ready to do that now. It'd be really good if I had my camera crew, but it's all right. We'll do what we got to do. Anyway, so I'm going to put that intake on. I'm going to double check everything, make sure I got everything connected, special electrical, and then I'll be able to hook the battery back up. But I think we're good. Let's hook this up and see if she'll crank so that hopefully I don't have to be chauffeur much anymore. Watch out. All right, I've double checked everything. I got all my hoses hooked up. Got all my coolant hoses hooked up. The vents, the electrical, the battery, air cleaner. Now cross your fingers and make sure she runs. My luck hasn't been that great here lately. All right, she starts. Okay, well, she does start. Apparently I hooked up all the electrical lines properly. She doesn't seem to be leaking right away, but I'll definitely put it out in the driveway and see if it does leak on the ground. So we'll keep an eye on that. It is going to smoke a little bit because we did have some antifreeze or coolant kind of leak down, and try to clean it up as best I could, but it's still going to smoke a little bit. It's still going to stink, but it will evaporate and go away eventually. Anyway, while it's cold, I'm just going to button up the front end of this real quick, close the hood. Don't forget to reset your nav system and also your radio. Everything should be in your owner's manual, hopefully, because you did disconnect your battery, and when you disconnect your battery, you have to reset all that. It's all the security, in case somebody wants to steal it. They need the code in order to get it to work. Anyway, this was definitely a long road. Not the happiest and craziest about it, but we made it to the end. Thanks for joining me all the way on this adventurous and journey. Hopefully this kind of helped you. Don't be afraid of it. Just go ahead and tackle it. A couple things I would have to recap on. When you get your gasket, I would probably first research it to figure out which one you need. Don't rely on the people at the auto parts store. Research what it is. While you're in the store, go ahead and open the package while you're in there and tell them, no, this is not it, or yes, it is. I got some, was it Velcro gaskets? They were, first one went great. Second one was not right. Now they did tell me that if I take off the old one and put everything back in the original packaging, I can bring it back and they'll give me my money back for it. I got to the point now, it is so late at night, I really don't give a darn. I will just eat that cost. I left the one gasket on the front. I replaced the new one on the back, even though that was a very expensive gasket for the back. But hey, you do what you got to do, and I will just chalk it up as being, hey, I will eat the cost of that Velcro gasket. So anyway, while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and change all the, well, not change, but check all the fluids to make sure that they are good to go, and get this guy in the other garage. And I'm going to go to take a shower and go to bed. Because it's late, and I'm cold, and summer and spring needs to get here because I'm tired of being cold. Anyway, go ahead and check out some of the other videos, see which ones you like. Go ahead and subscribe, and we will go from there. Till next time, just get out there and do it. Later.